Unfortunately, guys, this world is run by, I was going to say it's run by NPCs, but it's run by manipulative people, obviously. That's why, what do most human beings do in this world? They slave away, you know? They slave away for their mere existence just to survive. That's why a lot of people say, like, in the future, obviously they're trying to make a joke, but you know, they say like in the future we'll have to pay for breathing, you know, because we already have to pay for every other thing that we need to survive: shelter, sustenance, you know, food, everything, clothing, everything. We have to pay for everything just for our mere existence that we never even wanted. So this world is run by manipulative slave owners, and unfortunately 99.999% of people in this world are just dumb NPCs. They bring more people into this world, and most of them turn out to be NPCs too. Maybe not in every single like facet or area of life, but in the one area that matters the most, you could say, which is forcing people into this world. Most people in that area are NPCs. I mean, go outside, man. Every day I go outside, I see people with kids in dangerous areas, you know? Like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Bringing more people into this world where evil, bad things happen, you know? And it's like, that's the dumbest thing that could have ever happened. And most people do it. Why? Pretty much because they're just NPCs, you know? I don't know if NPCs can break out of their programming. Maybe. But even if they can, unfortunately, most people in this world are NPCs. In fact, almost everybody, at least in the area of, you know, having kids, they think that is a good idea. They think that that's a good idea to enforce slavery, suffering, and death on somebody else who never needed it, never needed to go through it. They think that that's a good idea because they don't think about it at all. Obviously, they don't have any thoughts really, or they're just living life on autopilot. You know, they don't think deeply about anything. I'd say they just wake up, get dressed, slave away, have fun with their friends or whatever. I bet that's a lot of people's existence, and they just go through it, like through the motions, not like necessarily like miserably, you know, like they have some fun in their life, but you know, they don't think deeply about life, and they're probably never traumatized at one point or another, so they just think it's perfectly fine having a kid, you know, as long as you have money for the kid and your income is stable, they think that's perfectly fine. But clearly my parents were NPCs, and whoever's listening, your parents were NPCs, unless they apologized to you for bringing you into this world, which I bet they didn't. Mine didn't. Fuck no. Fuck no. But anyways, whoever's listening, your parents are probably NPCs just like mine, and I'm kind of forgetting what I was gonna say, but it's yeah. What I was gonna say is, even though they're NPCs, we clearly are not, or at least we're not in the sense that we're not gonna force someone else here, because that is the biggest red flag ever, obviously. So NPC clearly is not a genetic thing, you know. We're not as dumb as our parents, our NPC parents. We're not that stupid. We're not that brain dead, thankfully. But I don't know if most people will break out of their NPC programming. I'm not really trying to convince them, because it's a losing battle, and you can't control people anyways. You know, you can't, unfortunately. You can't control much of anything in this existence. But really, the point I'm getting at in this video, I guess, is, yeah, this world is run by NPCs. That's why this existence is so fucking dumb and stupid. It's literally the stupidest thing that could have happened. Being forced into this existence of slavery and bodily needs. And like other people call it, the human body is a torture chamber. The mind is the torture chamber too. So much mental pain and suffering, and physical pain and suffering, that you can go through in this life. You can. But literally, this is the dumbest thing that could have happened to us, being forced here. But it happened because our parents were NPCs, and the majority of people on this planet are NPCs. But luckily, we are not NPCs. So even if reincarnation was a real thing, we ain't gonna force anyone else to go through that cycle. You know, I don't believe in reincarnation. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But we're not gonna force anyone to go through life ever. Like, I hate it when people argue with anti-natalists and they say you can't make this argument that, like, you can't harm someone that's non-existent because they don't exist. You can only harm them when they exist. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've had arguments of that, like that, with people online. Like, they completely disregard the anti-natalist idea because the person, quote unquote, you know, doesn't exist. I mean, yeah, the person doesn't exist. That's true at the current moment, but they will exist if you have sex, you know, simply, and just make them. It's not complicated. We all know how babies are made, you know? So don't force them here. It's simple, you know? And you're clearly not an NPC if you're watching anti-natalist channels. No NPC is going to watch that, you know? So yeah, I won't drag this video on too much longer. But, you know, I was just saying, the point of this video is NPCs run this world. Or not NPCs run this world, but, you know, 99.99% of humanity is just a brain dead NPC, at least in the area of having kids, at least in that area of life, that very specific area. They are NPCs and they follow the exact same ideas. They think it's good to have kids and force this life onto somebody else because they don't think about it one bit. That's why they do it, because they don't even think about it. If you thought about it for even a few days or weeks, then you would realize that what is very stupid. It's the stupidest thing to force someone else into this life. It's the most pointless thing you could do. It's the most harmful thing you could do. It's the most evil thing you could do. It's not good. It's not good at all. It isn't. If you really thought about it and seen how much suffering that there is in the world and that you can go through individually, you would have wished that your parents didn't force you here, because I know I do every day. But if you're smart and you're aware of this shit, I'm not a fucking genius. No way. You just have to be aware of this world. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. Anybody can be an anti-natalist. Anybody can understand this shit and not force someone else here. So yeah, the final point of this video is most people are NPCs. That's why this shit is so dumb. That's why we're forced into this world, and then we're forced to do things for our parents and go to school and be a wage slave and dress a certain way, suit and tie, and act a certain way in society, domesticated, brainwashed, conforming, and a slave. You need money to survive. You can't live without a stupid piece of paper. If this was a good world and humanity was kind to each other and it was a good species, which it isn't, but if it was, then we wouldn't need to slave away for fucking toilet paper or food. You know, it's stupid. Slaving away just to exist. And you didn't even want this, you just got forced here. So yeah, take these words as you will and don't reproduce.